Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. Hi, welcome back to the Leading Yourself podcast. I am so happy to talk to you today about a topic that has literally changed my life. I know that once I reveal what this is about, you might be thinking, really? And it might come across as something really insignificant. But that insignificant thing, as I said, has changed my life and in ways that I could have not imagined. And that is my morning routine. If you've been following this podcast, if you've listened to previous episodes, in episode number 2, I talked about work-life balance. And I share with you some of my strategies to achieve or feel in balance. And one of them was to establish a consistent morning routine. So in today's episode, I want to share with you all about morning routine. I want to share you my morning routine, my life before and after that morning routine, and some tips and ideas that hopefully inspire you to create your own morning routine. And I think that is very important point to say that my morning routine can look completely different than yours. The important thing is that you make it your own. So what I'm trying to do today is to share with you just some things to think about, to consider as you look to build your own morning routine. Okay, so let me start by sharing with you how was my life before having a consistent morning routine. And some things have changed and some things haven't, but just so you understand why this has been so important to me. So before having a consistent morning routine, I felt I was running all day. I was firefighting all day. I would wake up, get the kids ready, drop them at school, go to work, go pick my kids, go home, start preparing dinner, homework, and start all over again the next day. I tried many times to incorporate exercise during my day, and I gave up as many times as I tried. I had a treadmill at home, which I don't really use. I really don't like treadmills, but that's a completely different topic. I subscribe to a fitness club, a very expensive membership before having my second child. And what I would do is I will take my oldest there, and they had like a daycare kids area. I will drop him there. I will go get my workout done, pick him up, and then go home. And that worked out for a while, but shortly I realized, or I felt, the mommy guilt. And those moms listening to the podcast will completely understand what I'm saying. I felt that, okay, I'm working all day. I don't see my son all day. The only time I get to spend time with him is the evenings. And what am I doing? I'm dropping him in another daycare, in another kids area, while I'm being so selfish of working out. And by the time we got home, there was so many things to do that we really didn't get time to spend quality time together. So I ended up giving up. I procrastinated, I came back and forth and ended up just giving up. I have a lot of dreams. I mentioned in the very first episode of the podcast that I consider myself a dreamer. I'm a very ambitious person in the best sense of the word. I have big goals and I get excited about those goals. And I was feeling really frustrated because I was not making progress with many of them. This podcast is a great example. It was a year that I was thinking about doing a podcast, wanting to do a podcast, dreaming to do a podcast, but really didn't take any concrete actions towards making this a reality. Let me share with you how my morning routine looks like, and then I can talk about how it has changed my life. I need to start by saying that I wake up every day an hour to an hour and a half before anybody else wakes up at home. That for me means anytime between 4:45 and 5:15. Yes, I know for some of you this might sound crazy. I am a little bit crazy, but that is what works for me. That doesn't mean that is what works for you. Remember, when you're building your morning routine, it needs to be your morning routine and work for you. So don't get hung up on the 4:45. Let's talk about what is that I do once I wake up. That is the important part. The first thing that I do when I wake up is exercise. I exercise from 20 to 30 minutes every day. I go to my basement and I hit play on my workout every day, Monday through Saturday. Sundays are my rest day. Once I get my exercise in, I drink my water. I try to drink at that point 16 ounces of water. My goal during the day is to drink 120 ounces. So starting early in the morning really helps me get to my goal by the end of the day. Then, of course, it's time for a shower. At that point, I'm more than ready for that shower. After my shower, I enjoy quiet and peace. I sit down for 5 minutes just to drink my coffee and enjoy that taste of coffee. I just love coffee. I have to say that. While I'm drinking my coffee, I do my Start Today journal. Let me explain to you what that is. Basically, it has 3 components. The first component is I take my mind to a state of gratefulness and I write down the 5 things that I'm grateful for. This have to be specific things, like things that happened the day before or that same morning. It cannot be generic things like I'm alive, I have a family, I have a house, but specific things that happened to me or for me in the last 24 hours. Then I write down my 10 dreams. Before starting this practice, I did a visualization exercise where I try to imagine myself 10 years from now. I try to imagine what is that I'm doing in 10 years from now. How do I look like? What have I accomplished? What will make me feel fulfilled and proud of myself? And based on that, I wrote my 10 dreams. What are the 10 things that if I accomplish, I will have the life that I've dreamed for? I wrote those dreams every day. Yes, they're the same 10 dreams every morning. Writing them down in the morning helps me to have them the front of my head and present throughout my day. So when I'm making decisions during the day, those decisions are influenced by what matters to me, those 10 dreams. Then I pick one goal. What is the one thing that I can do today or this week that will move the needle for me to achieve one of those dreams? And I try to focus one dream at a time and think, again, just one simple question. What am I going to do today? What am I going to do this week that will bring me closer to make one of my dreams a reality? A perfect example of that is this podcast. I had dreamed about this podcast for a year. I was talking about it, I dream about it, but never take one concrete step to make it happen. Once I started this practice, it became very apparent This podcast is one of those 10 dreams. So every day I was picking one thing that will take me closer to where I am today. And now that dream is a reality. After completing this practice, I start preparing and packing lunches for everyone. I get breakfast ready, lunches ready, and everything that needs to be ready for the day. That includes checking my calendar. I look at my calendar and see what appointments do I have today, what meetings do I have today, what is going on in my day, so I can get organized very early in the morning. And make sure that I make space in my calendar to work on that goal that I decided I wanted to work today, on that thing that is going to help me move the needle. And that sometimes means moving things around, canceling meetings, delegating, and so on. At that point, I'm ready to wake everybody else. And then the chaos starts. Getting my kids ready and out of the door, it can be an adventure every day. Before I leave my house, I take with me breakfast. I truly believe that breakfast is the most important meal in the day. Having a healthy breakfast really can make a big impact on how your day goes. Having a healthy breakfast gives you the energy to be productive, to be efficient, effective during the day. So I don't leave my house without taking breakfast with me. I also take with me my water bottle. Remember, I'm aiming to drink 120 ounces every day. So I have established this rule for myself that I would drink 30 ounces of water before I get to the office. And my second rule is that I would not have breakfast until I have drank 30 ounces of water. This really helps me set the tone for the day and set me for success on achieving that particular goal. It also helps me to be more focused and more productive throughout the day. That's it. That's my morning routine. That is the simple morning routine that I do consistently every day that has changed my life. If I look at my life after establishing this morning routine, well, let's start with exercise. I've been consistently exercising every day, 6 days a week for 9 months now. And I haven't missed one day, one single day. That is something that I had never been able to do before. I feel more full of energy. I'm a more positive and optimistic person. I think that just writing down those things that I'm grateful for has helped me in being more mindful throughout the day, being more present in what I'm doing, and more observant of what's going on around me. Not underestimating any little thing that has a positive impact in me, in my state of mood, and in the people that I love. And now let's talk about goals. As I mentioned before, I used to have these big dreams and was really frustrated that I wasn't making any progress towards them. This podcast is a perfect example. It took me a year before I actually did something. I keep talking about it, thinking about it, dreaming about it, but never took one single concrete action that was actually taking me any closer to be here today talking to you in this episode. And since I started this morning routine, I kick off the podcast. I'm today recording the 6th episode of the podcast. All this happened in 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago is when I decided to focus on this as my next goal. In 2 weeks, I got out of my analysis paralysis and go for it. And I've made such an amazing progress. I feel proud of myself. And I don't think I would have ever be where I am today when it comes to this podcast. And let me say, I know it's not perfect. I'm learning on the go, and I'm okay with that. My goal is that one day I will look back and listen to this episode or the episode before this one and feel embarrassed of myself. But then I will feel that I'm making progress and I'm actually achieving my goal. I feel more accomplished at the end of every day. I go home not worrying about all the things that I didn't do, all the things that I didn't achieve, but I go home feeling accomplished and feeling in a positive mind. So I get to spend more quality time with my kids. I'm able to disconnect from work and be able to just enjoy time with my kids, preparing dinner, getting them a bath, getting ready for bed, and just enjoying that time, being more present and more mindful. So now that I share with you how my morning routine looks like and how it has impacted my life, I want to break down for you the 7 components that I intentionally built into my morning routine. Hopefully, this gives you some ideas and inspiration to build one of your own. So here we go. Number 1, get moving. You don't have to do the same type of exercise that I do. Whether you want to go for a walk or a run or a bike ride, however that looks like, but move your body for 20 to 30 minutes every morning. Number 2, hydrate. Water is essential for our body to function. Did you know that up to 60% of our body is made out of water? And that our brain and heart are composed of 73% of water? You need water to be able to focus, to get going with your day. So start your day by drinking water. Number 3, be grateful. For me, it means writing down the 5 things that I'm grateful for every day. Number 4, get inspired. What inspires me is my dreams. Is this idea that I can make those dreams come true. For you, it might look like reading an inspirational quote or meditate. Whatever inspires you, do something in the morning that sets your heart on fire. Number 5, get focused. For me, this looks in the way of picking the one goal that I want to focus on next, the one goal that I want to achieve this week or today. Number 6, get ready. For me, this has 2 components. The first one, as I said, I look at my calendar, I scroll through, and I make sure that I build in time for the things that are important for me. That I know exactly how my day is going to run so I can be the most productive, the most efficient and effective during my day. The second part of getting ready is to physically get ready and out of the door with my 2 kids. And finally, number 7, put the right foods in your body. Breakfast, you probably heard this from your grandparents, is the most important meal of the day. You want to fuel your body so it's at its best during the day. So having a healthy, nutritious breakfast is non-negotiable. Okay, let me recap those 7 blocks that I intentionally built in my morning routine. Here we go. Number 1, get moving. Number 2, hydrate. Number 3, be grateful. Number 4, get inspired. Number 5, get focused. Number 6, get ready. And number 7, fuel your body with the right foods. That's it. I hope that you found this episode helpful. I hope that you found ideas and inspiration to start your own morning routine. If you like today's episode, I would appreciate if you can go to Apple Podcast and leave me a review. Also, please share this episode on social media with your friends or anyone that you think that can benefit from today's content. And with that, thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to talk to you again on another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.